Hey, this is Dave Wise. Welcome back to our channel. And we are in at Todd's facility in Iowa, and this is A-body heaven, but we'll get to that in a minute. Look at those exhaust manifolds on the wall. Wait till we get there and see that in the A-bodies. So Todd, tell me a little bit about this. This is Ernie Durr's car, and you were telling me about, you know, this is the photo that we typically see anywhere on the internet, him with this car. And this car, outside of a few items, you said the air in the tire, the gas in the tank, and
rebuild the carburetor.
And rebuilt the carburetor. But other than that, this is as the car was raced.
50 years ago.
50 years ago. And this was in what class?
Late model.
Late model.
Late model day.
So, you know, I know a little bit about these, and, you know, just looking at it from what I can see, obviously it has the right breather, has the Motorola alternator, the belt, the hoses, the, you know, even the hoses to cool the brakes. It just is on and on. Original air cleaner, all the support, the front for the core support, which was, I think, was from aircrafts.
Mm-hmm. This material here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's.
Yep. It's a Nichols engineering car that was built. He was sponsored by Chrysler through the 60s, and this is the last car he got from Chrysler in 1970. And some people are going to argue it's a 69, but he had enough 69 parts when he put the 69 front end on it. But it's a 70 car. The motor that's in it come from Petty. We got, like I said, we got the box. Originally that box come from Petty.
Yep, and you said, so the Petty, so the mark, I'll try to get in and look, and this is the P.
The F1 and F2 are both Petty motors.
Yep, there it is, the F2.
And the F1 is in my buddy's house down the road, and he got it from Ernie too. And that's a Petty stamp.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, did this run in any regionals, or is this all over the country, or what do you know from the history?
Ernie Durr raced won feature races in 22 states. He ran all over the country and in Canada, down to Louisiana and Minnesota, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, clear out in Arizona. He won at the time more dirt track races than anybody at the time. 354 late model races. He won 12 national IMCA championships, which at that time was the most for anybody. So
you just recently drove this car on a track. You were showing me the video?
Yep. Last June, at our local dirt track in Donaldson, Iowa, they had us come out there and do a couple pace laps, and we were able to run it up a little bit and made this old Hemi sing a little bit.
Yeah, it made it a very distinctive sound. Well, it certainly is a piece of American history. There's no doubt about it. And there's no plans to ever restore it, right? It's going to stay like this.
As far as I'm concerned, I think it should stay like time capsule the way it is.
So when's the last time that this was in actual competition?
Well, Ernie's boy raced it. Ernie's boy was doing the IMCA racing in the early 70s into 73, and Randy Derr might correct me on this, but 73 or 4, Mike Derr won the last race in this himself. They were getting ready to load his Mike's car up, and his car broke, loading it on a trailer. So he pushed it off and took this car down to Sedalia, Missouri, and he won the race with it.
That's such a great story. So tell me a little bit about these torsion bar adjusters, because I know we just heard the story a little while ago.
Well, according to what Ernie had told Johnny, my buddy here, that these were designed by Ernie himself, and then Nichols Engineering copied them, and that's secondhand from Ernie.
I understand.
But what he could do, he had a wrench laying right in here, and then on the yellow flags, he could adjust his torsion bars to add or take wedge out of the car.
Yeah, that's incredible.
If you look at Buddy Baker's car, the '88 car, the dash is exactly the same as far as this wood grain.
Yes.
That's the same.
So you see we even have the blowers back here, the
Yep,
seat
we've got
belts.
brake blowers, and then they've got fans back there for this is for the rear end
Yep.
grease, and then the fans back there are for the brakes. Pretty high tech back in 1970.
And so you're telling me about the that Ernie was able to see the wear on the tires. That's the duct tape that we're seeing in the back there.
Yep, he had a little door there, little flap door, and he could reach around with a stick and pull that up, and he could check how his right rear tire is doing on yellow flag.
I guess anything to gain a little advantage on his competition.
Yep. The roll bar on the other side over there is signed by Ray Nichols.
Let's take a walk over there. This is it looks like I'm sure it's had some collision damage, but boy, it sure does look nice.
That's Ray Nichols' signature.
Yeah, that's priceless in itself.
I don't know if you've ever heard a 12.5 to 1 motor, Hemi motor, but boy, they've got a sweet sound when you start them up.
Yeah, I saw when you were on the track with it what a great sound it had. So all the switches are original.
Yep.
So what's your plan? Just to be the caretaker of it for?
Well, I always tell my friends that I own all these cars, except this one. I feel like I'm not really the owner of it. I'm more the caretaker of a piece of history. And so, yeah, I'm just to take care of it, try to preserve it. And,
Well, you're doing a heck of a job.
well, thanks.
And this is a 1970.
70, yep. That was the last one that before Chrysler got out of racing, that Ernie got from Nichols.
So going back to the engine, tell me a little bit about that. You were telling me the story that it is a 3-barrel. And
carburetor?
Yep, the carburetor. And this is actually a 65 race Hemi carburetor?
The carburetor, if you look it up, it's a 64 race Hemi only.
64,
is what
okay.
the numbers say. And a lot of them are mechanical advance. Well, this one is a vacuum advance. And I talked to Ernie's son and asked him about the carburetor, and because it's 1964 and this was 1970. And I asked him if it was just something he threw on there. And he said no. He says that was his favorite carburetor because he liked the vacuum advance as far as coming off the corners and how the carburetor would open up.
Would perform?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we'll see this out in the track in a bigger setting one day.
Could be.
Some nostalgic or history race or anywhere. It needs to be out in public, and
Yeah.
more people need to see this and appreciate it.
It really does for what it is. It's
'Cause it is
a piece
a-
of history.
Yeah, just a piece of history and just an absolute time capsule.
And I'm sure there's other cars like this out there, but this is the one. Back in the day, they called him the King of Dirt because he'd won 12 national championships in all those races. He made his living racing back in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, and that says a lot because the purses aren't what they are today.
Right.
Well, we appreciate you sharing this history with us, and hopefully we're going to see this. Oh, one more thing. So tell me about the mud splats on the windshield.
Well, in the IMCA rules back in the day, you had to run a windshield, factory windshield, and when some of those clods got dried out and you got behind a car to throw them up there, it'd be like hitting a rock, about as hard as a rock. And I just never did switch it out because it's original. Original as far as the last time Ernie raced it.
Yeah, it tells the story.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Until next time, hopefully we'll see this car out on the track.